Hey, welcome back. Now, you know me, I'm a fan of freedom of speech, and that includes the freedom to make jokes that are sometimes offensive. You've probably heard the phrase gallows humor. It's a way of coping with stressful things, but that doesn't mean that it's appropriate in all circumstances, especially if the joke is on you. Here's what I mean. Just over a week ago, one of Mark Carney's Liberal MPs, who's running as a candidate in the Markham area, in the Greater Toronto area, was speaking to a group of Chinese-Canadian reporters, and he started making jokes about having his conservative rival seized, kidnapped unlawfully, taken to the Chinese consulate where there's a bounty for his scalp of 1 million Hong Kong dollars, almost 200,000 Canadian dollars. Now, I've finally seen the video. I'm going to show it to you in a moment. And there's some nervous laughter and some chuckles in there. But watch as Paul Chiang, the Liberal candidate in question, repeatedly says, if you were to grab this guy, you'd get $1 million. If you were to grab him, And remember, the whole time, he was a police officer for 25 years. Some people have tried to say this is a joke. If it was a joke, it was disastrously poor ethics and had poor judgment. But I do not believe it was a joke. I believe that for 25 years, Paul Chiang has been loyal to the Communist Party of China, and he regards pro-democracy dissidents in Canada as enemies. Judge for yourself. Take a look at the video.
The other person that's running most probably is, the Chinese community knows, Zhou Te, Zhang Jing. Right? He is looking for the nomination. The Chinese media knows him. He was in the media business in Hong Kong, and here in Canada, he's a radio host, or I don't know, for Singtel Media or Fairchild. He was a media person, so that's all he did all his life. But also right now, he is wanted by the Chinese government, and there's a $1 million reward on his head. So they want, if you guys want to pick him up and take him to the Chinese consulate, you make him $1 million. I'm just joking, but there is a arrest warrant out for him from the government of China, and there is a reward for him. But apart from that, I can't say more than that. Right?
He can't say more than that. He can't say that it's wrong. He can't say that it's outrageous that the Chinese government would seek to effectively kidnap a Canadian citizen. And he was fine saying it 3 times. This is an ex-cop, mind you. Well, the man who actually recorded this video and publicized it, I'm delighted to say he joins us now. His name is Terence Shen. He's a YouTuber, an influencer. He does a talk show in Mandarin, and we're delighted to have him on the show. Terence, what a pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Ezra. By the way, I'm not the one who recorded it. I just find out from a Chinese social media called Red Note. Someone recorded it. I know who he is. He's also a reporter in the local Chinese media. I'm not going to say who he is, but yeah, I know him.
Thank you for clarifying that. But you were there, is that correct? Or did you just hear about this event?
I wasn't there.
Okay. But I thank you for those corrections. I guess the important thing is what he said was captured on tape. Now, for almost a week, Mark Carney said, oh, I know this man, he's of good character. The words were deplorable, but he's fine. Why do you think Mark Carney stood by this guy for nearly a week? In fact, you could say he stands with him now. He didn't fire this guy. This guy resigned after it became such a national scandal. Why was Mark Carney so afraid of firing this man as a candidate?
The Liberal Party didn't take it seriously because people don't understand it. The Paul Chiang may deliver it as a joke. They say it's just a joke, but we are not stupid. Everybody understood exactly what message Paul Chiang was trying to send. So what happened is that Paul Chiang essentially suggested people could collect a bounty from a foreign dictatorship on his Canadian political opponent right in front of a group of reporters. Clearly, his intention was to portray his opponent as a criminal, so voters in the community wouldn't support him. To me, that's a textbook case of foreign interference. Just look at the timeline. the Chinese government placed a bounty on Zhou Tai after learning he was going to be nominated by the Conservative Party. That tells us the bounty wasn't random. It was designed to benefit Paul Chiang and help him defeat Zhou Tai. So Paul Chiang, of course, he knew that. That's why he brought it up in front of reporters on purpose, hoping the message from China would influence voters in the Chinese community. So I definitely believe this should trigger an investigation under Bill C-70, the Countering Foreign Interference Act, passed just last year. It's a perfect opportunity to prove that this law has teeth and that Canada is serious about protecting its democracy. Of course, when the Prime Minister called this a teachable moment while defending Chen's candidacy, refused to fire Chen, I definitely disagree. A teachable moment means nothing without consequences. Right. So, but now that Paul Chiang's political career is over and the case is under investigation, now we can say this is a real teachable moment for the Liberal Party, for the whole Canada.
Yeah, I mean, Mark Carney thought, oh, that's just a gaffe, a joke in poor taste. But it actually, on the face of it, is a criminal offense. Like you say, it's a violation of the new foreign interference rules. But it's also when you say to people, catch someone for a bounty, if they're not actually, like maybe in China, that's lawful, but that is not lawful in Canada. I do not know what this guy was like for 25 years as a police officer. I'm worried, based on what I just saw with him and what I've learned about him in the last week, I'm worried that during his time as a police officer in the Greater Toronto Area, he may have done favors for the Chinese Communist Party. He may have been harsh on Chinese democracy activists. I don't know. It sort of scares me that we gave that guy a badge and a gun, and for 25 years, we don't know what he did because he showed who his allegiance is to.
Yeah, right now we are facing serious challenges in actually enforcing the Bill 70. As far as I know, not a single individual or organization has registered as a foreign agent under the law. Not Paul Chiang, nobody. Here's the thing. I could give you a full list of organizations and individuals that are actually actively working on behalf of the Chinese Communist government right here in Canada. It's not a secret within the Chinese community.
Right.
Everybody knows who they are. And everybody knows Paul Chiang has a very close relationships with the Chinese consulate. We have seen those pictures. So the real question is, when will the government act?
Right.
So it doesn't matter which party a politician belongs to. Defending Canada's democracy, liberty, and national security must come first. So I think the Liberal Party failed us. Right. So that's the lesson from the Paul Chiang case. And we expect the next government to step up and take that responsibility.
Well, I hope it happens. Now, I was looking at your Twitter account, and I want to show a picture that you posted. It's at the entrance to Markham. Markham is part of the Greater Toronto Area, for folks who don't know. So it really is, it is a separate place, but it's sort of conjoined to the rest of the big blob called Toronto. And at the sign marking that you're entering Markham, someone has put a homemade sign that says Paul Chiang and a bunch of Chinese lettering. And you wrote, some members of the Chinese community in Markham, Ontario, put up signs near Pacific Mall to protest Paul Chiang and mock him as someone serving the interests of the Chinese communist regime. And I mean, that's a lot of Chinese text for people driving by, but I guess traffic in Toronto is so slow that maybe you go by slow enough to read it. What does that say? What do those words in those homemade signs say about Paul Chiang?
It just says that Paul Chiang is serving the people. Serving the people is a slogan of Communist Party. So that they are mocking him. So because people, in the Chinese community, some of them already started to realize that the CCP's United Front operation in Canada really hurt the reputation of Chinese community. So the CCP's United Front operations lasted like decades, and they are trying to build ties with people and groups who can help push Beijing's agenda. So that could mean organizing cultural events, setting up also associations, or working through diaspora communities to influence public opinions and even the local politics. So on the surface, it might look like a harmless cultural exchange. It's like the Paul Chiang and other some pro-CCP members of parliament are doing. But when you dig deeper, a lot of it is really political influence work. So I want to give you one example.
Okay.
So there's a woman called Lily Pang from Vancouver. She has been identified as a consultant for the Chinese CCP's organization. It's a major United Front agency. And her son, David Wang, has tried to get into politics for this election. He tried to be nominated as a conservative candidate for Richmond in Vancouver. Based on open source information, including the Chinese state media, their connection to the top CCP United Front officials are pretty clear. So it raises serious questions about whether foreign influence is creeping into our political system. And I put together everything I found from the public sources and sent it to the Conservative Party, CSIS, Canadian Intelligence Service, and even FBI. And now we've learned that David Wang didn't get the nomination. That's
wow.
Terence,
you're not just a reporter, you're a freedom fighter. I love to hear what you did.